Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us to learn more about how to apply to start a Girls Who Code club. This session is intended for you if you either intend to apply to start a new club and are employed by the host site or physical location where you would like to start a club, or if you have been given a club code for an existing club and would like to join that club as a facilitator. For the first 15 minutes of this session, we will discuss how to apply to start a new club. If you have a club code to join an existing club as a facilitator, feel free to fast forward about 15 minutes so that you can see how you can apply as a facilitator. Please remember that to start a new club, you must be employed by the host site. The host site is the physical location where the club will take place. In order to start a club, you must be able to do the following. First, secure a regular meeting space at a nonprofit, public, or tax-exempt host site. Second, provide a laptop or desktop and reliable internet access to all club members. And third, identify or serve as a facilitator to guide club members. Each club must complete the club's application to gain access to Girls Who Code HQ, our trainings, curriculum, support, and more. During this session, we will walk through each aspect of the club's application and complete your application together. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach us at international@girlswhocode.com. Now, let's go through the application to start a new club. We'll get started by filling out the welcome page. First, enter your first name and last name. Then, check the box to certify that you are over the age of 18. Next, enter and confirm your email address. Girls Who Code will use this email address to communicate with you about your club, so be sure that this is an email address that you check regularly. After entering this information, a box will pop up prompting you to consent to having your information collected and stored. Please check this box. The next question provides two options. Select Start a New Club if you intend to apply for a club and are employed by the host site or physical location where you would like to host a club. Select Facilitate an Approved Club, and I have the club code if you're going to be joining a club that exists already as a facilitator. For this first part of the walkthrough, we're going to select Start a New Club. After selecting Start a New Club, the next question asks whether you plan to facilitate the club. As the decision maker, you can also guide students through the curriculum. If you intend to guide girls through the curriculum, select Yes, I will lead students through the club sessions. If you do not intend to guide girls through the curriculum, you will need to identify another individual to serve as the facilitator. You don't need to have this person in mind at this time. If you do not intend to serve as the facilitator, you should select No, I do not plan to facilitate the club, but I will identify a facilitator. Please note that even if you select Yes, you will still be able to add additional facilitators to your club in the future. There's no limit to the number of facilitators that a club can have. Select the option that applies to you and click Next. The next page helps us determine whether or not you are eligible to host a Girls Who Code club. Please note that Girls Who Code clubs can only be started in the United States, Canada, the UK, and India. We are only accepting applications for clubs in these locations at this time. If you're interested in starting a club in a different country, you can submit a club's interest form linked on this page. Additional notes for eligibility are: clubs are intended for students who either identify as a girl or would prefer to be in a female-centered environment. Our curriculum is designed for girls between the ages of 11 and 18 years old. Clubs may not charge a fee for participation. Clubs may only be hosted at a community-based or nonprofit organization, such as an NGO, school, library, or faith-based organization. And as a reminder, to complete this application, you must be employed by the club's host site. That is for this version only, and when we go back over how to join an existing club as a facilitator, you will not need to be employed by the host site. If you need to save your progress and return to the application at any time, click the Save and Continue Later option at the top right corner of the window and follow the instructions provided. Now we'll begin to complete the eligibility page. Please select the country in which you plan to host your club. For the next question, please indicate your preferred language of instruction. Girls Who Code curriculum is currently available in English, but will soon be available in Canadian, French, and Hindi. If you select a language other than English, you'll receive a prompt asking if you are comfortable facilitating your club in English. If you select yes, we will communicate with you in English and provide you with our English curriculum until our curriculum is available in the language you selected in the previous question. If you select no, we will communicate with you in the language that you selected in the previous question and will let you know when our curriculum is available in your preferred language. Next, select the target age group for your club. Our programs are designed for girls 11 to 18 years old. However, please select the option that represents the majority of your student population. Please note that if you select under 11 years old or 18 years or older, your application will not be approved, since our programs are designed for girls aged 11 through 18. Next, indicate where you plan to host your club. The options in the drop-down menu include public or government school, private school, college or university, community center, library, and faith-based or religious location. Please select the option that best represents your host site, or select Other, the final option, if the option you are looking for is not available in this application. If you select a public or government school, another question will appear. Please specify your club's school board, board affiliation, or school district if applicable. The next question is meant to confirm that your club is hosted at an applicable host site. Please answer, is your host site a nonprofit organization, such as a school, NGO, library, or community center? Private schools are considered nonprofit and will be approved. Please note that if you select no, your club will not be approved. Next, select your affiliation with the host site. If you select any option other than I work at this location, your application will not be approved. Once you've completed these questions, please click Next to move on to the next page. On this next page, you'll be prompted to complete the About You section. First, select your gender on the form. The options are female, male, other, or prefer not to answer. If you select Other, please complete the text box with the appropriate gender. Next, please select your current job or occupation. Please review the options listed on the drop-down menu first. If your occupation is not listed, feel free to select Other and write in your current job title. Next, please enter in your mobile phone number where you can be reached directly, and be sure to include your country code. Next, please identify what methods of communication you prefer with Girls Who Code. We will send occasional club's program updates and confirmation requests via phone call, WhatsApp, or SMS. Please select all methods that you prefer for contact: email, phone call, text message or SMS, and/or WhatsApp. Please keep in mind that you can select multiple modes of communication. The last question in this section is, how familiar are you with computer science, otherwise abbreviated as CS? Please select your knowledge or experience level. Please note that it is not required that you have a CS background to facilitate a Girls Who Code club. Response options include, I'm totally new to CS, but I'm ready to try it out. I've seen code before and either watched someone else code or worked on a short activity myself. I have some computer science experience and maybe took a class or taught myself. Or the last option, I have professional experience with computer science. Please select the option that's most relevant to you. Click Next to move on to the next page. Now we're going to enter in some information about the club that you'd like to start. First, enter in the club name of your host site. This is the name of the location where your club will take place. Please note that this must be a nonprofit location such as a school, NGO, or faith-based organization. The actual name of the host site should be used rather than a generic alternative. Your club's name will not be approved unless it is unique, so make sure to think of a unique name for your club that is relevant to the host site location. Next, you can enter in the website of your host site. This is optional. Next, you'll be prompted to enter the address of the host site, including the street number and name, the city, state, postal code, and country. Next, please enter the primary host site phone number. Be sure to include the relevant country code. If the phone number has an extension, please be sure to include that as well. After we have the basic information about your host site, we want to know more about the club that you're going to launch. First, we ask that you input a launch date for your club. This is the date that your club will anticipate to begin conducting meetings. Please note that if you're not sure about the exact date in which your club will begin, you can enter an estimated date and change it later. Next, we ask that you enter how many participants your club will have. This is the number of students who will be attending the club meetings. It's fine to enter an estimate for now, as this question just gives us a rough idea of the potential size of your club. In the next question, we ask whether or not you plan to bring on additional facilitators to your club. We've found that having multiple facilitators per club can be helpful. If other facilitators will be helping you run the club, or if you're not the facilitator, but the club will be run by one or more other facilitator, click yes and enter the number of facilitators that you plan to have for your club. Next, we want to better understand the makeup of your club, so we ask you to estimate the percentage of participants who come from disadvantaged backgrounds. This question is optional, so please answer if you'd like to. Next, we ask if your club is affiliated with any of the following community partners. Community partners are organizations with which we've already formed partnerships, so we'd love to know if your club is connected to one of them. Please be sure to take a look at the options if you're not sure if you're affiliated with one of our community partners. If your club is not affiliated with a community partner, please select None. If you are interested in forming a community partnership, please be sure to reach out to international@girlswhocode.com. Community partners are organizations that plan to launch multiple clubs. Please click Next to move on to the following page. Now we've reached the safeguarding questions. In this section, Girls Who Code wants to ensure that your organization has the resources available to create a safe, positive environment for club participants. The first question asks if your host site has policies and reporting procedures regarding child safeguarding and if they are implemented. Please select yes or no. The second question asks if your host site has procedures in place for reporting cases of child abuse. It also asks if you yourself are familiar with these procedures. Please select the appropriate response. The third question asks if you have submitted a background check since you started working with minors. Please note that you may receive follow-up communication from us asking for you to clarify your responses to these safeguarding questions in order to approve your club application. Once your club application is approved, we will contact you via email with the next steps to launch your Girls Who Code Club. Please click Next to move on to the final page. Finally, decision makers will complete their participation agreement and code of conduct. The participation agreement describes the responsibilities and expectations that are agreed upon between decision makers and Girls Who Code. This agreement outlines the requirements for clubs, including host site responsibilities and expectations, acknowledgement of operational responsibilities, confidentiality and privacy, and more. The Code of Conduct outlines club rules, such as treat others with respect, behavioral standards for club facilitators, and Girls Who Code's child abuse and protection policy. Please note that all club facilitators are also required to complete the Code of Conduct agreement to ensure that the full club experience is in line with Girls Who Code standards. Please take a few moments to read through these agreements. Once you have completed review of these documents, please select I have read and consent to the above agreements. If for some reason you do not consent to these agreements, please fill in the text box that appears with a short explanation as to why you do not feel comfortable completing them. Please keep in mind if you decline to consent to the participation agreement, you may receive a follow-up email from us asking for additional information in order to approve your club's application. Next, please enter your signature by clicking and dragging your mouse or using a touchpad if you have one. Your host site's name and today's date should have automatically populated from the previous information you entered. If not, feel free to enter in and also type your full name below your signature. Finally, you may click Submit and your application will be complete. For next steps, if you have successfully submitted your club application, you will receive a confirmation email in the coming days. If you do not receive a follow-up email in the next 2 to 3 days, please follow up with us at international@girlswhocode.com and we will work with you on next steps. If you didn't submit your application but instead saved your progress, you'll receive an email from noreply@surveygizmo.com with a link to your saved application. You will also receive automated reminders from international@girlswhocode.com. Please be sure to add both email addresses to your contacts as they may end up in your spam folder. We encourage you to revisit the application and complete it at your earliest convenience. All submissions are reviewed on a rolling basis. Now that we have walked through the application to start a new club, we will walk through the application to become a facilitator for an existing club. If you intend to apply to become a facilitator for an existing club during this session, you will need to have your club code on hand. If you do not have that at this moment, please pause this video and find your club code. Okay, let's get started. First, enter your first and last name. Next, check the box to certify that you are over the age of 18. Next, enter your email address. You'll then be asked to confirm your email address. After entering this information, a box will pop up prompting you to consent to having your information collected and stored. Please check this box. If you already have a club code and would like to become a facilitator for an existing club, please select Facilitate an Approved Club and I have the club code. You will then receive a prompt to enter your club code. This was likely shared with you by your decision maker for your existing club. Please note that club codes are case sensitive and all letters should be capitalized. Please click Next to move on to the following page. The next page covers eligibility. This page indicates what is required of Girls Who Code facilitators. Girls Who Code facilitators are not required to have any computer science experience as long as they are willing to learn alongside their club members. Facilitators also must be at least 18 years old, review the club's training material provided to facilitators once the club has been approved, be available between 1 and 2 hours per week, including travel and prep time for the duration of the club, and agree to and abide by Girls Who Code's Facilitator Code of Conduct policy, which will be included at the end of this application. Please keep in mind if you need to save your progress and return to the application at any time, you may click the Save and Continue Later button at the top right corner of this window and follow the instructions provided. Next, you're asked to select what is your preferred language of instruction. Hit the Next button to continue on to the following page. Next, you'll be prompted to complete the About You section. First, select your gender on the form. The options are male, female, other, or prefer not to answer. If you select other, please complete the text box with the appropriate gender. Next, select your current job or occupation. Please review the options listed on the drop-down menu first. If your occupation is not listed, you may select other and write in your current job title. Next, you will enter in your mobile phone number. This is where we can reach you directly, and please include your country code. Next, please identify what methods of communication you prefer with Girls Who Code. We will send occasional clubs program updates and confirmation requests via phone call, WhatsApp, or SMS. Please select all methods that you prefer for contact: email, phone call, text messages, and/or WhatsApp. You can select multiple modes of communication. The last question is, how familiar are you with computer science, otherwise abbreviated as CS? Please select your knowledge or experience level. Note that it is not required to have CS background to facilitate a Girls Who Code club. Response options include, I'm totally new to CS, but I'm ready to try it out. I've seen code before and either watched someone else code or worked on a short activity myself. I have some computer science experience and maybe took a class or taught myself. Or I have professional experience with computer science. Please select the option that is most relevant to you and hit Next to continue on to the following page. The next section asks a few safeguarding questions. These questions help us ensure that your host organization has resources available to create a safe, positive environment for club participants. The first question asks if your host site has policies and reporting procedures regarding child safeguarding, and if they are implemented. The second question asks if your host site has procedures in place for reporting cases of child abuse. It also asks if you yourself are familiar with these procedures. The final question asks if you've submitted a background check since you started working with minors. Please select the options that apply to you. Please note that you may receive follow-up communication from us asking you to clarify your responses to these safeguarding questions in order to approve your application. Once your application is approved, we will contact you via email with next steps. Please hit Next to continue to the following page. Finally, facilitators will complete the Code of Conduct Agreement. The Code of Conduct outlines required club rules, such as treat others with respect, as well as behavioral standards for club facilitators, and the Girls Who Code Child Abuse and Protection Policy. Please note that all club facilitators are required to complete the Code of Conduct Agreement to ensure that the full club experience is in line with Girls Who Code standards. Please take a few moments to read through the agreement. Once you have completed, select I have read and consent to the above agreement. Next, you can submit your application. If you successfully submitted your facilitator application, you'll receive a confirmation email with next steps in the coming days. If you do not receive a follow-up email in the next 2 or 3 days, please follow up with us at international@girlswhocode.com and we will work with you on next steps. If you didn't submit your application, but instead saved your progress, you will receive an email from noreply@surveygizmo.com with a link to your saved application. We encourage you to revisit the application and complete it at your earliest convenience. All submissions are reviewed on a rolling basis. Please feel free to reach out with any questions, and thank you so much for your interest in Girls Who Code. We look forward to having you on board as we empower girls and close the gender gap in STEM.